So welcome to this video. My name is Alex, and in this video I'd like to help prepare you for what will be some very challenging times which are just around the corner. And I'm talking about Halloween, which, as many people know, is the most celebrated day by people who are into the dark side, you could say, or you could call them Satanists. Occultists. Halloween is a day of celebrating the darkness for these people, and as you're probably aware from what's going on in our society, there are people who are in very powerful places who are into the dark side, you could say, and we are going to be seeing some very disturbing things happening from Halloween onwards. And the purpose of me speaking to you right now is to remind you that none of it is real. None of it is threatening to you. None of it can do you any harm. What's really important is that you don't allow this theatre of darkness that you see on your screens, that you see on social media, that you see everywhere in the media, you don't let it affect here. We've got to keep our minds in the light, connected to the truth, which I call God, which many people call God. And this is our utmost priority, that we don't allow the darkness to get into our thoughts, because that's the whole point. The whole purpose of saturating the media with dark messages and fearful visions, dystopian visions of a miserable future, is to make you hopeless, is to get into your head and defeat you in your own mind, so that your thoughts become negative. Your thoughts become hopeless. Your thoughts become pessimistic, even angry. And so it's very important that you keep God, or keep the light of God as your focus. And I would recommend personally not looking at anything in the media from this point onwards, because there are going to be some unpleasant things, and it's going to look very dark and very disturbing and very fear-inspiring to many people. And this, of course, is the intention. The media is basically a propaganda machine to a large extent. And if we're giving our eyes to this propaganda, if we're giving our attention to this propaganda, then we only have ourselves to blame. The media can do what it wants. The people who run the media, they can use it for whatever they want. That's not in our hands, that's not in our control. The people who run the media are going to do what they want with the media, and they're going to pump it full of negativity and hopelessness and fear and despair and misery, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse, I promise you, to the point where people will be freaking out from what they see on the screens. Now, there isn't a reason to freak out. There isn't a reason to be afraid. It isn't necessary to go there. Because, as I said, it's all propaganda, it's all hypnosis, all for the purpose of dragging your mind into the darkness. And this is your top priority, keeping your mind connected to God, keeping your mind connected to God's light, trusting God. Because when you trust God fully, you cannot be afraid. When your trust in God is complete, that He will protect you, provide for you, and give you whatever you really truly need and what your heart truly needs, which of course is God's love, that you'll get everything you need from God, and you can relax, and you don't have to fear anything, and I mean anything. You don't have to be concerned about the theatre in the media, the dark theatre, and all the things you're hearing, and all the things that seem to be happening. Turn your attention away from that stuff, because it works against God. It's an opposing force. God wants you to be at peace, happy, in joy, relaxed, open. And of course, the more attention you give to the media, the less likely you are to feel that way, the less likely you are to sense God's presence, to feel what God wants you to feel. So you're just shooting yourself in the foot, so to speak. You're just harming yourself. You're just making life very difficult for yourself if you are consuming what the media is pumping out. And that includes YouTube. It includes all social media. It includes anything which appears on a screen. It's all polluted. It's all polluted with some very confusing, very dark, very twisted, very hopeless messages. Messages which are designed to make you angry. Messages which are designed to make you think you have to fight the system or fight the bad guys. Messages which are being carefully crafted with psychological techniques to get into your head and make you think in certain ways. So beware the media, beware anything which appears on a screen. And listen to your heart. When you're consuming information, it's got to be information that brings more light into your heart, that connects you to God, that makes you feel hopeful, that gives you some inspiration, because this is what we need. And the more we connect to God's realm, the more we connect to God's presence, which is always around us, always with us, always surrounding our heart, waiting for us to open the door, the more we connect to God's presence, which is love and light and peace, then the less we want to engage with all this distraction, all this media nonsense, so much nonsense, waste of time, the less we'll be interested in that, because we will have a connection to the truth, the spiritual truth, the divine truth, which is higher than all other truths. And that is the truth you need. It's the light which should be shining in your mind, which should be lifting your heart and making your heart feel hopeful and enthusiastic. Because the media wants the opposite. The media wants you to lose your enthusiasm, give up, and to have only dark thoughts in your mind, visions of future darkness, visions of future suffering. That's what the media wants. That's what the people who control the media want for you. So are you watching their product? Are you consuming their product? Are you giving them access to your mind and your heart by giving your eyes, giving your attention to what they're producing? And a lot of it, I would say 80% of what appears anywhere on a screen is being tainted by this agenda to spread darkness. So, you need to turn to God. We need to turn our attention away from the screens, away from all these thoughts about what's going to happen in the future, because it's always future. Fear is always future. So if we stop thinking about the future, stop thinking about all the bad things which we're so sure are going to happen, and we come back to this present moment, we will see, well, hang on a second. There's nothing threatening around me. There's no monsters trying to get me. There's no one trying to hurt me in my immediate vicinity. There's no tigers or lions trying to chase me. I'm safe. I'm actually safe right now. And I have everything I need right now. I have food in my cupboards. I have shelter. I have warmth. I have more than I could possibly ask for. And then when you do that, then you remind yourself of what's true. This moment God has given you, this present moment is what God has given you. Pay attention to it. Notice what you've been given. Notice the security you have, the comfort, the ease of your life. That you're not living like some people in very poor places where you have to go scavenging in bins, or you have to go walking for 20 kilometers to get a bottle of water or a glass of water, dirty water. Goodness me, look around you, open your eyes and see that God has provided for you. Right now, God has given you this moment. God has given you this screen to watch this message, to inspire you, to lift you up, to remind you that the good news, that God's news is good news. And that's the only news which is real. God's news, the good news, the message of faith, providence, protection, complete protection, by the way. If you keep your mind in the light, you are fully protected if you keep your mind in the light. Because if you open your mind, or if you allow your mind to suck up all these negative messages, to soak up all this darkness coming from the screens, if you allow your mind to be consumed with hopeless thoughts, then you are allowing yourself to be polluted. You are choosing to be polluted. This is the portal to your being. What comes into your mind is the portal to your heart. And you need a protective screen there to say, no, I don't want any of that stuff. That's dark, that's negative, that's going to inspire anger, fear. I'm not allowing any negativity into my mind. I'm not allowing any fearful thoughts. I'm not going to give my attention to all this distraction, this so-called entertainment in the media that's full of dark messages. I'm not going to let that into my precious mind. I'm going to turn my mind to God and get the news directly from God, which will inform you that you are loved, you are protected, you are safe. Right now you are safe, and you will always be safe if you keep your heart and mind in the light. You will always be safe if you keep your mind on God, because the threat comes to you when you start allowing negativity and dark thoughts to dominate your mind. That's the threat in here, the dark thoughts, the negative thoughts, the angry thoughts. Those are the threats. It's the thoughts which are the threat. Nothing else. It's just the thoughts. They are dangerous if you buy into them, if you let them in. They are the danger, because then they affect your heart and they pull your heart into emotional states, anger, hopelessness, negativity, etc. So you turn your mind away from the threat and you turn your mind towards the source of everything you need. And you trust that you are surrounded by this force, by God. You trust that God is working with you, trying to help you, trying to open your eyes to what He's doing, trying to bring you peace, trying to make you strong, not weak. He's trying to make you strong. He's trying to empower you so that you are not susceptible to any of the influences in the media or influences other people's thoughts, or that you are strong, connected to His source of energy. And that brings you enthusiasm to make a difference, to speak to people, to communicate, make a difference to the world. Give people inspiration, give people hope, lift people up, because that's your job and that's what God wants you to do. But first you have to be strong. Or first you need to recognize that you have what you need and that your mind is in your hands, and that all you need to do is turn it towards God. Trust God, and then you will fear nothing. And you will get what you need. You'll get the inspiration. You'll get the light. You'll get the power, the strength. Trust in God. Turn to God. And be thankful for everything that God's given you right now. Look around you. You are not threatened. There is no danger around you. The danger is in here, in the future. You are here, you are now, you are safe, you are protected, you are provided for, and you will always be that way. If you stay with God, keep your mind with God, trust God, and relax in God's presence. Let Him look after you. Don't worry. Don't fear that you're not enough, that you're not at a high enough standard to receive God's love. He loves you. He's your Father. He loves you, and He just wants to protect you and provide for you. Please let Him do so. Okay, thank you for listening to this talk. I wish you well, and God bless you.